Hey guys, welcome to the Black and Teal podcast. Antonio Frigiorelli with Brian Mescal next to me, as is tradition. And wow, what a great game we had this week against the Bengals, huh? Didn't you just enjoy how the Jaguars are now 1-3? They're in the doghouse. They're locked in the cellar. They're everyone's problem child. They have always so much potential, and they don't win. It's just like that.
I didn't even watch the game because I knew the Bengals were going to win.
Well, that's why I watched the game, because you know pretty much every other team except for the Jaguars. You only know the Jags because of me.
Yeah, pretty much.
But the only positive that I can say that came out of this game is that the Jaguars kept the Bengals to 2-11 on third down, but the Bengals kept the Jags to 2-11 on third down. So there wasn't much.
Both teams were terrible on third
down. Both teams were terrible on third down. But the great thing that they did was they didn't let AJ Green get like a single reception in the first half. And then in the second half, they allowed him to get 100-plus yards and a touchdown. Awesome. Almost two if he didn't get stepped out at the 1-yard line in the third quarter. But it was just such a horrific game. I mean, Jones-Drew didn't get going. Blaine Gabbert got going, 180 yards plus, against a team that only had three corners, which were Terrence Newman and Adam Pac-Man Jones. Everyone else was either slated on the team as a defensive back. They have only one other corner. Everyone else is a defensive back or a safety in that secondary. So, I mean, our friend Mookie told us this. If the Jaguars can't get the pass game going against the Bengals, then you got to start pointing fingers. I mean, he's all for, fire Jerry Sullivan, the wide receivers coach. He's all for firing Gene Smith, who's our general manager. I mean, someone's got to get the finger pointed to them. They were saying on NFL.com the other day, that Mike Mularkey is showing promise as a head coach, but he's not delivering on results. And that's exactly how the Jaguars are running right now. They show improvement, they show potential, but they have not executed as well. The only team that they've beaten in these past 4 weeks is a rookie quarterback starting Indianapolis Colts, who you knew that if they were going to win any game in these past 4 weeks, it was going to be that game. And that's it. They had a chance to beat Minnesota, and they didn't execute. I mean, we're almost at full strength now. The only person we're still missing is Darryl Smith. Everyone on the offensive line is back. He's still out with a groin injury. I mean, it has to be more than a groin injury, because Steven Jackson came back, and he's a running back. He has to run the ball. No, I don't think a lot of players have really ever missed this much time with a groin injury. I mean, I know that Stevie Johnson last year had a groin injury. A couple players right now have a groin injury, but he's missed 4 weeks.
Is a pain to come back from. It seems like a simple injury, but it's a nagging injury.
It's a nagging injury, but I've never heard of a player missing this much time because of a groin injury, especially 4 weeks straight. Like, there's players that will miss 1 week, come back the next week, they miss another week, they come back, but 4 weeks straight. And granted, I don't know what kind of pain this guy's in. I don't know. He's still suited. He's still in, every week I see him on Jaguars.com getting off the jet. He has a suitcase, and he has one of those stroll-on, luggages, and he's in a really nice press suit, but he's not suiting up, and that's really hurting the team, especially a team captain, one of the best defenders on our team, still out. Does it excuse if Darryl Smith was there? Could we have won an extra game? Yes, I believe if Darryl Smith was there, our record would be 2-2 right now. We could have beat.
No,
Darrell Revis on the Jets.
Yes, but that's a shutdown corner.
He's a shutdown corner.
That's not a.
I think we could have won the Minnesota game.
Linebacker. It's not like it's even if
he is an above average linebacker.
No, I know he is. I'm not. That's what I said is that he is, but I just don't think that a linebacker changes whether you win or not. A safety does, a cornerback does, a quarterback does, a wide receiver does, a running back does. That all can change whether you win or lose a game. A linebacker, I don't see how that's possible. Even like a D lineman, offensive lineman, that doesn't make or break your game.
Let me put it into comparison now. Our starting linebackers are Paul Posluszny, Darryl Smith, and Clint Session. Right now, the team has been running on Paul Posluszny, Russell Allen, who is the 4th linebacker on the depth chart, and Kyle Bosworth, who is the 5th linebacker on the depth chart. Now, put that in comparison. You're running with your 4th and 5th linebacker. Now, let's say your 4th linebacker becomes your 3rd best linebacker. Good. He's playing in the 2 slot, which is good. But then your 5th linebacker is still performing like a 5th linebacker, even a 6th linebacker. How much does that hurt your team now? That team is now concentrating on that side.
Point. I definitely get that point.
It's like missing an offensive lineman. You don't see how much it really hurts until you miss him.
And I get that, but he's not that spectacular of a player where he's a huge playmaker. He's a solid
maybe he doesn't get the ball like a skill position person.
Exactly, yeah, but he's not going to change the game completely. He's not going to play. It's not like you're the Ravens and you miss Ed Reed where there's a huge drop off between Ed Reed and the next guy because Ed Reed is a certain breed of player where there isn't many of them, and then the other safety behind him is like a regular, decent player. Darryl Smith is a solid, very solid linebacker.
In 2010, he was the best defensive person
to
stop.
Linebacker.
He was the best defensive player out of all players, linemen, defensive linemen, safeties, everyone. He was the best defensive player to make stops on third down. If he was the top person to make a stop on third down. And knowing the Jaguars in 2010...
Throughout the entire league?
Throughout the entire league. He was the best player. The best player. I wrote an article on him months back. He was the best player.
I still don't see it. It's not like he...
Because you think of a 4-3 linebacker.
He's not rushing the passer.
He's
He's not a game changer.
Well, that's the thing, though. A lot of these linebackers... Granted, I think DeMarcus Ware and Clay Matthews are great linebackers, but they're known for their pass
game changers.
Right. They're basically like a less heavy... Because defensive ends, I think about like anywhere between 260 and 280 in a 4-3 or 3-4, depending. These guys are maybe like 240 to 260, around that range. And they're designed in their scheme to rush the passer almost every single down. Every now and then they'll go into coverage. And they're getting those sacks, and that's why they are well known. But a guy like London Fletcher, who's a middle linebacker in a 3-4, 4-3 defense, however the Redskins have played for their years, he is still one of the best linebackers in the league, and he does it by leading by example and getting those tackles, getting those pass deflections. He might not be the most electric player by getting, game changer sack, but he is still a great linebacker. And just because he's a 4-3 linebacker doesn't mean you should discount Darryl Smith.
No,
he has led the team in tackles every year.
And then he, like I said, he's
except
a great player.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, when you have something like that, it's going to hurt. But having him out, I don't think that's why you lost the game.
No.
You would have necessarily won because he wasn't.
I didn't
there.
I didn't state that. I said we could have won one extra game. That being the Minnesota game, just the Minnesota game, because the Minnesota game was decided by a field goal. It was won in overtime, and the reason that happened was because the defense let up almost 50 yards of offense during that last drive. Christian Ponder literally kept driving the ball downfield, pass after pass. It was almost as if the Jaguars defense didn't want to come out there anymore.
Yeah,
they were winning. Blaine Gabbert threw a spectacular pass to Cecil Shorts in that last 20 seconds, and then all the defense had to do was literally make one stop, or just not allow 50 yards. Could have allowed 40 yards because that field goal ended up being 50 yards, and it ended up tying the game. You're telling me that your best defensive player, as linebacker, couldn't have lined up in a nickel or even in the dime package, which he would probably have been in, and made a stop? You don't think he would have been a lot better? Maybe Christian Ponder could have thrown a mistake or thrown to somebody else on that play, and maybe they couldn't get out of bounds?
I see where you're coming from.
That's what I mean by that. Not that he would have changed the game so radically, but he could have, for one play, forced a fumble, made a tackle that was short, for a third down or something. Something like that. Something minute. And that's something I learned from Ray Lewis's Football Life. If you guys haven't seen that show, it's amazing. Ray Lewis was...
I didn't see it.
There was the game in the AFC Championship game when everyone was blaming Billy Cundiff for missing that field goal, but he goes, it's not Cundiff's fault. He's like, what if on third down, he's like, on one of the third downs, he's like, I missed a tackle. And you see Ray Lewis missing a tackle, as weird as it sounds. He missed a tackle, blatantly missed the running back. And it's just like, he's right. Any one play could have changed the game. We shouldn't blame Cundiff for that play. It was just that he was in the spotlight of it, which a lot of people see.
Makes sense. All right, I get your point.
Get my point on that.
I understand.
It was nice, healthy little discussion. But what I also want to talk about is the Jaguars receivers, which I don't know if this is 2011 or 2012, but something's going on with these receivers, and it's like the fact that Justin Blackman now has 6 receptions in this past game Now, I understand. Rookie receivers take a long time to develop their route tree and whatnot, but if AJ Green can do it last year, and so can Julio Jones, these guys are ruining the receiver position for the years to come because now they're expected to do more. Like quarterbacks. Quarterbacks like Andy Dalton, Cam Newton, they were put the whole offense in their hands and they excelled.
I have an idea for the Jaguars.
You have an idea for the Jaguars?
What is it? Trade Laurent Robinson.
Oh, Jesus.
And a 5th-round pick.
Okay.
To the Cowboys.
Back to the Cowboys?
For Des Bryant.
Yeah, you know that, first of all, that won't happen for 2 reasons.
Why?
One, his contract, Laurent Robinson, would probably kill the Cowboys' salary cap.
Not if they trade Des Bryant.
If they trade Des Bryant, you know how many problems, and this is my second point. 2, Gene Smith, for the past 4 years, have only hired 2 kinds of players. 1, captains, and 2, players that haven't gotten in any off-the-field issues, and players that are actually smart, like in the book smart.
And that has really seemed to work out for you guys.
It hasn't. The only draft that his team has really worked out for is the first draft he was there for, 2009. Eugene Monroe was out of there. He's now excelling as left tackle. I'm sorry. Evan Britton, who has been hurt, but he's now back into the groove. We have Terrence Knighton from that draft, who's been good. Derek Cox, who's starting as a corner. I mean, those are 4 very good players, standout players that have been for the Jaguars for the past 4 years, and now their contracts are actually going to be up this year. So we'll see if all of them are retained. I hope they are. All those players are good. But ever since then, I mean, he picked Tyson Alual the next draft, who I thought was great. Blaine Gabbert last year, who's gotten off to a rocky start, but with Brataski and Mike Mularkey underneath him, he's actually not as scared in the pocket.
Yeah, he's doing better.
He is doing better. But it's just the results are not there. And, I mean, I really hate to look forward to a top 5 pick again. I hate to look forward to a top 10 pick. I hate that my team has been in the bottom of the league for so long. I mean, I can only imagine if I was a Browns fan.
Yeah.
But something has got to go on with these receivers. When Cecil Shorts is now the best receiver on the team, there's a problem.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to
catches.
You got to for 2. For 2. That's all a receiver needs sometimes. That 1 or 2 catch that could win the game.
That's what's sad.
He put the team on his back and almost won 2 games. He won 1. He should have won that Minnesota game. That was the defense's fault. But when Cecil Shorts is the best receiver on your team and you draft Blackman, when you put, like Mookie told me, when you put all the money in Blackman, Robinson, and even Mike Thomas, who got an extension 2 years ago, someone has to point fingers.
You're setting up to fail.
You're setting up to fail, exactly.
You got Robinson, who had 1 good year. He's been in the league for a while. He's got 1 good year, and
well, in defense,
oh my God.
Before Robinson's 2 injuries, which were both concussions, he was leading the team in receptions, and he was leading the team in yards. But Cecil Shorts is now the best, has been the most productive receiver on the team, and there's a big problem when
Did he do anything this week?
Did he do anything this week? Minor, just minor. Wasn't really there. But
he's not even that good.
He's not even that good. He
just had 2 big plays.
He had 2 big plays. Dude, that's what you want out of a receiver. You want
but you can't have him keep disappearing as well.
I would rather have my 4th receiver only show up in the 4th quarter and have my other 3 starting receivers, because all teams now start 3 receivers in the first 3 quarters. If that one guy that you're not paying any money to can actually perform and win you the game in the 4th quarter, I would have that. Hell yeah.
Wouldn't you rather have to rely on your number 1 receiver?
Of course, you never want to play from behind. You never do. And all this money is tied up in the receivers. And it's literally looking like 2011. It's looking like 2008. I really feel like I have Matt Jones again right now. Some guy that's a really huge, who was a star but is disappointing, and now he's just going to get locked up in 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, considering Blackman already got locked up, but hey, what can you do? I mean, if you have all this money invested, honestly, I don't know how much better the Jaguars can get. They have Justin Blackman and an okay.
How far under the salary cap are they?
How far? No, they're above it. They're not below the salary cap at all. They don't spend their money.
Yeah, that would be below the salary cap.
I apologize. I thought you said meant above. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. I get confused with that. No, they have anywhere between 10 to 20 million left. I don't know the exact financials. I'm not opening up their books, but they have money. They don't spend.
You guys need another safety?
Safety? You think it's someone besides Lowry and Landry?
Yep.
Okay.
And I'd say try to get a game-changing safety if that's even possible, or draft one.
How many game-changing safeties are there in the league right now?
I'd go for a receiver as well.
How many game-changing safeties are there in the league right now?
Well, there's still Palomalo and
3.
Reed.
There's 3.
Palomalo, Reed, and then
We discussed him last week.
Earl Thomas.
There you go.
Game-changing safety. Yeah. He's coming up. He's getting into it.
He's getting in there. Exactly. So there's only 2.
So is Eric Berry.
There's 2.5.
Mark Barron's going to get there.
Mark Barron just got drafted. He hasn't proven
He's
anything
gonna get
yet.
there.
4 games. He hasn't proven
He's
anything
gonna get
yet.
there.
He's going to get there. Yeah, like Ryan Leaf was going to get there.
I'm telling you, man.
All right. So
Pretty good.
there's only 2 definites.
Yeah.
You know how hard it is to find a safety then?
Yeah, it's pretty hard.
For someone who doesn't watch a Jaguars game, that's a pretty bold statement. Lowry and Landry have actually been pretty good.
Yeah.
Landry has allowed a little bit in the man game, but Lowry has been
more of a hitter.
Of course. I mean, that's why he's playing on man on like a running back or a fullback. But he has been pretty good in the man. I mean, he's been allowing a little bit in the man, but it's all right. And Lowry they keep him back in the zone, which they should. I mean, for the Jets, he was a corner, and it kind of hurt him to play man. But the Jaguars were like, okay, this guy plays good in zone. Let's move him back to safety, and it worked out well. And that's why he's been back there. So I wouldn't say safety, but we are going to need help at corner
So
eventually.
what are you guys going to go for number 1 overall, you think?
Number 1 overall?
What do you want them to do next year?
I can't think that the Jaguars will take another wide receiver in this draft. They wouldn't. They shouldn't. They shouldn't. Unless there's some guy that looks like Megatron out there that's in the draft, don't take him. Then you know the Jags are going to get a top 5, top 10 pick at this point. They can't take unless there's a Megatron-like receiver out there in the draft, which God knowing there would be one.
Yeah, I see one.
I don't see one either. If I was the Jags next year, I would either have to take an offensive lineman. I don't know if you can take him top 5, top 10, but they did with Eugene Monroe that 1 year at 8, so that justifies it. But that was a left tackle. But I digress. If they're gonna have to take someone, they're gonna either have to take a defensive back, which they're gonna need help with. Mathis coming off that injury. Middleton is, he's not really stood out.
What do you want to see?
I need my team to draft a corner. They need to draft a corner. You don't know if Derek Cox is going to come back. You don't know if Rasheem Mathis can. He's on a 1 year contract. He's done. I mean, do you really want your starting corners to be Aaron Ross, Middleton, and Derek Cox?
I don't mind Ross. I like Ross.
Ross last year allowed 71.9% of his passes to be completed.
I don't know.
You can't.
Did he really?
Yes. That means 28.1% of his passes were not completed.
Well, I like Ross anyway. How's he doing this year?
Okay. Nothing stand out. Nothing, I mean, they paid for him as a free agent and Lauren Robinson. That's all they paid for. 2 guys, but that, they had to pay a little bit.
How about another linebacker?
Can I see them taking another linebacker? I can. Just because Paul Posluszny and Darryl Smith have been about 7 to 9 years pro each.
You know what they need?
What do they need?
This is exactly what they need to do.
Besides a corner?
Yeah. They need to draft another linebacker.
Okay.
So
hold on. I'm going to cut you off. They're going to draft another linebacker and switch to a 3-4 defense?
Absolutely.
You are such a homer for the 3-4 defense.
I'm telling you, that's what every team needs to do. Well, not every team.
If they don't draft, how about this? I feel like my team should draft in order a corner, a lineman, and then a linebacker. Because you can find a good linebacker in the 3rd round.
You don't have the personnel to be a 4-3 defense. You don't
a
have
4-3 defense? What do you mean we don't have the personnel? We have 2 anchoring D tackles, a good 3 technique, and a good 5 technique. Yes, we do.
You can make Alo into a D end.
Yeah, he did.
Have him play, and he
has the size for it.
He'd be a great 3-4 D end.
That's why I'm saying
you have great 3-4 D end.
Well, Cal they played a 3-4,
in the middle, and then whoever your other D end is.
Mincy?
Yeah.
Mincy has size too. He does have size.
Well, whatever. Move one of them to the outside, and put Darryl Smith as a middle linebacker.
He can play middle.
And then
he excels at right.
Put Posluszny at middle. And then put Russell Allen on the outside and draft another
right outside
linebacker that can pass rush. And then you already have the secondary that plays well enough in zone. There we go. Done.
Okay, that is an interesting
top 10
theory.
Defense.
That is an interesting theory, but Mel Tucker actually is a good defensive coordinator. He showed last year that he could make. Last year, he took a bottom of the barrel defense and made him a 6th overall defense.
Sucked this year. So
4 games. 4 games for the
Still
defense.
suck this year.
Okay. So let's say by the end of the year they finish at, let's just say 16. Did they improve then? I mean, not that they improve, but are they okay then? Are they okay to not switch to a 3-4 defense?
I think they need to switch regardless. I think they'll be better regardless. If they finished 2 overall and they were a 3-4 defense, they'd still probably be better. They'd be number 1. I'm telling you, they would be better at a 3-4 defense than a 4-3 defense. I'm telling you that right now. Not many teams would. Like the Giants, perfect for the 4-3. Bears, perfect for the 4-3.
Well, it's because they have 4 DNs on their team that can all pass rush.
They have perfect teams for the 4-3.
Think about it this way.
The Jaguars would be better off drafting a linebacker and switching to the 3-4.
So you're thinking they should have... So you think they should continue and have another hole at corner for another year then?
No,
I mean, this could possibly... This could
I'm not
be
saying that.
well...
Just look at the Steelers. Their cornerbacks were never really good. They had Ike Taylor, who's all right. And then everybody else sucks.
But they had Palomalu, who's a game-changing safety.
Yes, they did. But even when he's out, they still played very well.
And they have 4 very good linebackers.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You guys have good linebackers, too. You just need to draft another one. And draft a pass rushing linebacker.
Well, here's the problem, though. Paul Posluszny is a traditional 4-3 middle linebacker. He is a Mike. He is not a 3-4 middle linebacker. He doesn't have the speed for it. He tried it. He was in Buffalo. He wasn't that good. That's why he's like, I want to go back to a 4-3 defense. Yeah. That's exactly why Paul Posluszny came to Jacksonville.
Can't get rid of him.
Right, so before this guy says any more blasphemy...
I say you transition to 34.
Before we start rebuilding...
If anybody disagrees with me, you can leave a comment.
Before we start rebuilding for another 2 or 3 years, let's go to fantasy because we're running low on time. So, who do you like this week? I like... Personally, I'm teetering between having in my flex spot...
Defense?
Yeah. I'm teetering between having Armand Binns, who is the Bengals' second wide receiver, or Jackie Battle in my flex spot.
Depends who the matchups are.
I believe Armand Binns. I believe they're playing. They're playing either Miami or St. Louis because I was also looking at Andre Roberts, who is the second wide receiver on the Cardinals.
They're playing who? St. Louis?
One of them is playing St. Louis and one of them is playing Miami. I believe.
No,
the Bengals are playing Miami.
New Orleans is playing. San Diego's playing New Orleans.
Who is?
San Diego's playing.
San Diego is playing New Orleans.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm talking about the.
Yeah, that's Jackie Battle.
Right, okay, but I was talking about Armand Binns and Andre Roberts, who are Bengals.
Jackie Battle.
I said Jackie Battle at the beginning, but then I was talking about Armand Binns, and I was talking about I was talking about Armand Binns and Andre Roberts, who have good matchups for this week. Whoever's playing Miami, though, they have a good run defense, but their pass defense has suffered.
Suspect.
It's a suspect since losing Davis. Honestly, I'm choosing between those 3 guys in my flex spot. What do you think? What do you like? Mind you, Jackie Battle will be splitting carries with Ryan Matthews.
I kind of like Jackie Battle against New Orleans because New Orleans defense is god-awful. It's atrocious. And
correct. I remember
they can't seem to win a game
Can't seem to win a game, huh?
And that's what I'm doing. I'm changing my fantasy team name to the Saints.
You're changing your name of your team to the Saints?
Yes, because they're 0-4 like me, and they come close, and they still lose. And they don't have bad players; they just still lose. So I will, from now on, be the Saints. This is exactly how my fantasy season's going. Good team, but just can't find a way.
Mescal is the only one that's 0-4 in our fantasy.
Yo, we have 9 people that are 2-2. It's unreal.
I know.
I'm not out of this. I am not out of this.
Here, put it this way: we have 9 people that are 2-2. You're 0-4, and then me and my manager John are.
You know what would have been funny if I beat you in the first week and I beat him this past week? Everybody would have been 2-2.
But you did it.
I know.
But you did it.
That would have been fun.
And mind you, I won by 0.84 points the first week.
Unreal.
All right, so I found the schedule. Cardinals are playing St. Louis, and that means that the Bengals are playing Miami. I like Andy Dalton this year. I think he'll do pretty well against Miami's horrible defense. I think they're ranked 30 or 31 right now. I believe Armand Binns will have a great game. I also believe Jackie Battle could see.
If I wouldn't pick up Andre Roberts, it would be between Battle or Binns.
You wouldn't pick up Andre
Roberts, whatever you said his name is.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's the number 2 receiver.
Yeah, because
Kevin Cobb is suspect,
and they're playing St. Louis, who has a pretty good pass team.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is if they're playing them, that means if they're playing St. Louis, that means Cortland Finnegan will be on Larry Fitzgerald all day.
Yeah, but then you got Jenkins or Jennings, whatever the hell his name is, Jenkins on Janoris.
I believe it's Jenkins.
Roberts. So
I don't know. I mean, I feel like he's scored 4 touchdowns in 4 games. The guy, he's worth a flex spot. He was worth I believe the flex spot is.
I agree with you, but I just look at how terrible New Orleans defense is. And
well, that's why I'm also between Jackie Battle. That's why I want to. He's going to get 10, 15 carries.
Jackie Battle.
I feel like the flex spot is your roll of the dice of the week.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
Unless
your roll
you
of the
have
dice.
solid guys across the board.
Which
you got
no
a solid
one has.
3 wide receivers or solid 3 running backs, well, then you're just gambling on whatever you
if
can
you're
put in there.
if you're in a 10-person league and you don't have 3 solid running backs or 3 solid receivers, you need to look at your team over and see what you did wrong in the draft.
Well, that's if you're in a 10-team league. But
and
if
you're
you're in a
10, no, that's what I'm
12-team league
saying.
like us, then you expect to have a flex spot where you're changing up almost every week.
In a 12-person league, I've found this to be true that every team is going to have holes no matter what, just because there is so many players going so fast, especially in
There's an extra 20.
in a snake draft.
There's an extra 24 players.
There's an extra yes. There's 15 rounds times
So there's 30
plus
extra
12.
30 players.
No. It's 15 rounds. There's an extra.
It's 15 times 2 because there's an extra 2 people, so it's 30
Yes.
extra players.
So it's 30 extra players. There's 30 extra players taken, and everyone's gonna have a hole. Like our friend Sal, he had Aaron Rodgers and he had Robert Griffin. Right now, he traded away Aaron Rodgers to him
Awesome.
for Demaryius Thomas,
And
Adrian Peterson.
And did you know Aaron Rodgers got more points than both of them combined this week?
But still, he still has the number 1 or 2, whatever he is now. He is still a top 5 fantasy quarterback right now. The only problem is he corrected his holes in fulfilling, he now has Marshawn Lynch and Peterson as running backs. He has Demaryius Thomas, who you can put as a receiver too, or a flex spot.
Great trades.
Great trade. However, down the line, if RG3 gets hurt while running the ball, which happens to running quarterbacks more often than pocket passers because they are running the ball,
or goes into rookie struggles,
or goes into any rookie struggle, or his headset just magically goes off again.
Yeah, but he still won the game for them.
He still won the game. No, but that's besides the point. If he has any rookie struggles, or if he gets hurt, like a Russian quarterback has more of a chance to do, he's gonna have Sam Bradford as his backup quarterback. Would you want Sam Bradford as your starting quarterback in a 12-person league? No, of course not.
Calling it rest of the season. I would love to go 8-5, but I don't know if that's happening. Just putting out there that I would like to go 8-5.
Mesco, you're not making the playoffs. We're going to throw tomatoes at you. We're going to throw tomatoes at you for 4 minutes. That's going to be our league punishment this year.
No guaranteeing that. I'm just saying. I
You're 0-4, bro.
Yeah.
Someone doesn't want you to win. Even on a good week, someone doesn't want you to win.
6-7.
6-7. Yeah,
6-7.
no. That means you're not making the playoffs.
I know, but I won't finish last at 6-7.
Anyway, so Battle, Bins. If you really want to take a gamble, according to Mescal, I like Andre Roberts. I think he's a good wide receiver. I mean, if Larry Fitzgerald can take that much heat off the guy, he's like a Laurent Robinson. He's a flex spot. I wouldn't put him as a number 2, but I would put him as a flex spot, especially in 12 and deeper leagues. And let's finish this off with the Jaguars versus the Bears. Bears are coming up.
What's your prediction?
Oh, God. I think the Jaguars will lose by a touchdown. But I have to be a Jaguars fan.
Okay, so
I said a touchdown, 7 points.
Realistically, what would you
Realistically.
What would you call this score?
Being on a team bias, any given Sunday, I gotta say the Jaguars will win by a field goal. They don't have enough firepower.
Okay, but you already said
realistically,
by a touchdown. So the score, please.
If Jones-Drew can get going, I believe this final score will be like 27-20.
I'm going 42-3, Bears.
You want to put money on that?
I say I'm closer than you are.
You say you're closer than I am.
Yeah.
What happens if Jay Cutler has another game? And what if he thinks he's playing Green Bay again? What if he has flashbacks? What if all of a sudden
he don't have a pass rush to do that?
What if? Yeah, but Cutler likes to sling the ball, especially to Brandon Marshall.
Yeah, Cutler put up 30-some points against the. The defense got a pick 6, but he still led the team to 34-10 or something stupid like that last night, and it was against the Dallas.
It was
Cowboys.
more than 2 possessions.
It was against the Cowboys, who have a better defense than
number
Jaguars.
1 defense, number 1 pass defense.
So really, and a better pass rush. So I think 42-3 is a very solid prediction.
Fine. Whoever gets this prediction wrong has to publicly apologize on the podcast next week. Deal?
Fine.
Deal. That's our time, guys. If you have a better punishment for Mescal next week, leave it in the comments below. Thanks for joining us.